there. I'd like to welcome you to our What the Heck series. HEC stands for Health Equity Champions. This is a equity series put on by our Government Alliance of Race and Equity group within San Mateo County Health, and specifically from our SEED lab, which stands for Spotlighting Engagement of Equity Development Lab. So all things communications. We're excited to have this conversation today with Mark Muehlman, who is our new Deputy Chief of Health and also is our executive sponsor for GARE and the equity work that we do through GARE. Today, we're going to be talking about Mark's journey personally to equity, as well as how that informs the work that he does. We also have a video for you where we received a set of questions about power, equity, and possibilities from another committee within San Mateo County Health GARE, known as Truth to Power. They specifically wanted to know about how power shows up in governmental institutions and hierarchical leadership. So we had a raw, vulnerable, thoughtful, insightful conversation with Mark about how power shows up within our governmental systems and how he's worked through his proximity to power and privilege and how that might impact how he shows up in the workplace as well. And if you want to get involved with this project or with other work that's happening across county health, go ahead and scan this QR code that we have for you to learn more. Hey, Mark, it's good to be with you. Thank you for joining us for our What the Heck video series, where HEC stands for Health Equity Champion. We're excited to get to learn more about you, not just your role, but also like how you show up to work every day and what this work means to you. And then we're going to go into a deeper conversation around power and how that shows up in the workplace and in equity work that we do together. So great. Why don't we start off? I'd love to hear, how you would introduce yourself, your pronouns, what your role is, and what that means for you.
Well, my name is Mark Muehlman. I go by he, him pronouns. And my role here is Deputy Chief for the department, Deputy Chief of Health.
Awesome. Thank you. So the first question that I have for you is about your personal journey. So if you can share what your personal journey to equity has been and how that's informed your work as well.
So after 10 years as a pastor, I left the ministry and started working in nonprofit sector, social service type jobs as a social worker. And the reason, that point where I finally left the ministry was really after years of a lot of internal conflict and having more and more difficulty rationalizing how I could stay there with integrity. And it was really two things for me. There were particular belief systems in the church that I was a part of that I just, as I grew older and kind of thought about what was going on in the world, that I really struggled with. That I couldn't adhere to. But then there was this personal struggle where I was taught in that church environment to, as a gay man, to hate myself, essentially, right? And to just push that down well below the surface and not be true to who I was. And so in another sense, that also was an integrity issue, right? And that remaining there, I couldn't be true to who I was and how I believed and what I thought in this world. And so it was a really difficult move because I was doing quite well in the career aspect of it. And to just walk away from all of that work for 10 years from a professional standpoint was really difficult, but from all of that internal conflict and the personal reasons I had to do it. And it allowed me then to really begin to grow in ways that I never was able to.
The next question I have for you is describe your body of work for health equity and what you're dreaming about.
Sure. So regarding my body of work, when I was first in county government at the health department back in Kalamazoo, Michigan, one of my first tasks was we were repurposing a position to create a health equity coordinator and from there a program. And so, as all of this was awakening in me, that opportunity to actually operationalize something that had not existed was pretty significant. For a little while, we had this one person who was trying to kind of support all this work in the department and in the community.
Wow.
And we had the opportunity at one point to kind of bring that work and our poverty reduction work together that had a stable funding source to arrange the work around poverty reduction around the social determinants of health with health equity at the center. And so it was really a very rewarding experience to be a part of the growth of that program over just a few years and the impact that we were able to have on the community there. From there, I went to Orange County, California, where though it was a substantially larger jurisdiction as far as population and resources and such, there was no equity dedicated resource in the county or in the health department. And in public health, we established a committee of people who were interested so we could try and move forward work. And so it became a very different kind of experience where in that first role, I had the opportunity to really kind of try and build out a program that was supporting the work broadly. I began to shift in my role in Orange County, and I think this was actually a really valuable thing for me to not have, as much as I think it's important to have that dedicated type of a resource when you don't have it. It really shifted back some responsibility on me in a different way as a manager to find the opportunities within the operations of the work that I was responsible for to be able to make changes, prioritize work, and that would have a practical impact on equity in the work that we did. And so that was a real learning experience for me. And then coming here to San Mateo County was really kind of a different experience for me. One, there was already established equity-related infrastructure at the county level. It was new, but it was established when I arrived. Certainly within public health, behavioral health, other parts of the organization had dedicated resources toward that, which I found very exciting. And then, of course, GARE. And so this group of wonderful people from all parts of the organization that are really committed to the work. And so I found that invigorating and exciting to be a part of an organization that was at that place. As I moved into this deputy role and had the opportunity to be the executive sponsor to GARE, it's a really interesting position, I think, and role for me that is applicable really in all aspects of senior level management, executive management, and everything, to sit in this place with not only the power and privilege that I have as a white male, but the power, the privilege that is imparted to me for my position within the hierarchy, within the organization.
I'd also love to know, what does it mean to support equity work as the Deputy Chief of County Health, and especially as the executive sponsor of GARE?
It's really about trying to, through whatever interactions, with whether it's with an individual or within a group, really trying to level as much as possible the power dynamic. And the most important thing is, for me, as I've learned over the years, I think, is how do I enter that moment or that discussion with a humility that is genuine, and when I've been successful with that, it is disarming a bit,
Mm-hmm.
right? And often there's also time as the person with privilege, with power, owning what might be going on as a part of the discomfort, and really trying to navigate that in a way that is supportive of whoever is involved. It's such a case by case kind of situation about how do you navigate who is in the room. For instance, if I was in a room with a bunch of white people and there was something that came up, I might want to lean into it and make it more just uncomfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the more diverse the group is, there has to be a mindfulness of how do we lean into this? Where does the discomfort rest? Whose voice needs to be heard? You know, and what kind of support is needed. So there's not a formula to it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's really a culmination of life experiences, what's worked, what hasn't worked, but at the core of it is really trying to recognize that no matter what I do, I have a level of privilege and power simply based on what people see when they look at me, right? And how in that do I interact with humility and try not to take advantage of that I have in a way that is harmful. So
Thank you.
does that answer your question?